Mythical Serpent Luo and his group of specialists show up at the Tim Chinese petroleum processing plant to save very nearly 500 Chinese laborers from the office, which is being gone after by a gathering of revolutionaries. Subsequent to navigating the Expressway of Death, quite possibly of Baghdad's most destructive region, Luo and his group should ship them to the Green Zone, a protected area. Teacher Chen, who approaches the processing plant's oil store and conveys the password, is an individual from the gathering. In the meantime, Chris, a previous individual from the Exceptional Powers, consents to his sibling Henry's idea to hijack a Chinese criminal who was being moved to the Green Zone. Chris, Henry, and their team assault the Chinese transports and kidnap Teacher Cheng and a couple of others as Luo and his crew take the Chinese residents over the roadway of death to the Green Zone. They follow Henry to the renegade Chief Owen enclosure. Owen welcomes Chris to go along with him so they can bring in cash. However, Chris isn't intrigued, so he leaves the gathering. Henry is killed by Owen since he is youthful and frantic, which makes him questionable in Owen's eyes. As well as attempting to find Cheng and his girl Mai, Owen demands that his group escort others to the Green Zone. Owen jeopardizes French authorities in the wake of killing Henry in the expectations that they will kill Chris and shut down the issue. After Owen stands up to the American about the captured Chinese individuals, similar authorities defy Chris. To scare the French away, they collaborate. Chris knows that the revolutionary chief killed his sibling, while Owen finds that Owen and his group are liable for the seizing. Owen drives Cheng and the others to the petroleum processing plant meanwhile. To take the oil from the plant, he demands Cheng's authorization to enter the hold. The USB plate expected to get to the safe is in that teacher's gear, which is with Mai. Cheng's child illuminates Owen. He arranges his soldiers to track down it and carry it to him. However, when they do, they find the local area that Chris has been safeguarding. Chris hands the sack to the men after a troublesome battle, yet Owen rapidly gains passage to the safe. Owen takes the USB drive and password he took from Teacher Chen's gear to get to the oil safe and starts transporting oil from the processing plant to gigantic boats by means of worldwide shipping lanes. He additionally utilizes trucks to ship something similar. He orders one of his men to kill Cheng and the other Chinese prisoners subsequent to getting what he needs from Cheng. Meanwhile, Chris and Luo advance toward the processing plant to save the teacher. Chris hands Owen the teacher's sack without a battle, not out of dread or a longing to participate in battle. He doesn't need a battle locally he watches, which might have jeopardized the existences of the occupants and damaged the kids in his home. Chris and Luo unite to take on Owen's gatekeepers at the treatment facility. They support each other all through the fight to keep the dissidents from dwarfing them. When they go into the treatment facility's control room, the two test Knox and request that he kill Cheng and different prisoners. Knox is compelled to run out of ammunition by Luo and Chris by gunfire. At the point when they understand Knox has run out of ammo, Luo stands up to him and asks Chris to stop Owen. Luo overcomes the tough man with the guide of his battling ability. Luo seems to kill Knox toward the finish of the battle to save Cheng and his child. Since Owen couldn't care less about ensuring the teacher is dead, Luo can save Cheng. He simply educates one of the dissidents to watch the teacher and her child and kill them later. Owen doesn't actually mind regardless of whether Cheng passes on in light of the fact that he annihilates the USB drive, making it unimaginable for even Cheng to stop the oil stream, permitting Luo to save her and her child without really jeopardizing his life. Chris runs into Mai, who shows up at the treatment facility with the American's vehicle, in the wake of passing on Luo to prevent Owen from getting away. They seek after Owen with the equivalent, however he escapes from them utilizing his costly vehicle. Luo comes in the desert with the fly truck subsequent to saving Cheng and her child's life. Chris and Mai get into similar vehicle and furl that truck into the vehicle's Owen's, then utilizing to ship oil from the processing plant. The oil trucks burst during the impact, and Owen loses the oil he planned to exchange ashore. Having obliterated the oil trucks, Luo currently pursues Owen. His truck runs over Owen's vehicle and pushes it down a bluff. Luo connects a rope to his girl Mai and bounces from the truck to an arrival with her to save both himself and her. They are saved in light of the fact that the opposite finish of the rope is secured to Owen's vehicle. Owen knows that by moving his vehicle, he could kill essentially the girl. In any case, in doing as such, he fails to keep a grip on the vehicle, which is wavering on the slope. Before Chris can kill Owen all alone to get his payback for killing Henry, the vehicle collides with him and kills him. Owen has an opportunity to save himself when his vehicle becomes still at the edge of the precipice. He had the choice to forsake the vehicle and hide in the desert as Lu, Mai, and Chris became abandoned at an arrival beneath the precipice. Rather than safeguarding himself, Owen chooses to get payback on his foes, yet the fall at last outcomes in his passing. His own malignance modifies his predetermination and ensures his end. Owen attempts to track down fulfillment and perhaps killing Mai notwithstanding, realizing that he would pass on. By cutting the rope, Lu figures out how to save his little girl, which fills in as just the mark of the end for Owen. Lu teaches his men to go to the boats that had been putting away oil from the processing plant in the wake of being protected from the arrival. The Chinese can get the oil thanks to Chris and Lu's intercession, putting a fruitless finish to the heist. Olo and Chris verify that Owen's village approaches water for their everyday necessities in the wake of saving Cheng and guaranteeing his destruction. Olo is educated that he has one more mission to do. Chris gestures an understanding when he welcomes him to go along with him. Since Chris no longer has any associations with the local area where he has been residing for quite a long time, he should join Olo. Because of the death of his dad and sibling Henry, his presence at the area is brimming with horrible recollections. He should be searching for a fresh start in his life, and maybe joining Olo will permit him to do precisely that. Chris could never again need to stress over his town now that the revolutionaries are either dead or powerless. Subsequent to ensuring the locals' well-being and that they have an adequate number of assets to exist, he will withdraw from a similar spot. Chris might be watching out for Mai, which drove him to collaborate with Lu on this new activity. He probably gained from Lu and Mai's gathering that beginning new was desirable over living before and languishing.